conference schedule. They committed 9-4. Providence at 10-3 after a nice road win at Texas. That was 10 days ago. We'll see how sharp they are here this afternoon in Providence, and Creighton will get their first crack at it.
That was a bit of a season-changing win for Providence because you got that kind of big-time win on the road without A.J. Reeves.
Ballack on the drive and kick for the corner jump shot. You're going to see a lot of those three-pointers today out of the Blue Jays. They really live and die with it.
And look, even though Providence likes to run that tight flex, if they have the opportunity to get out and run, they're going to do it.
Here's Diallo with the first touch, 17 points, 9 rebounds a game. Also a superb passer. Nichols trying to get in close and traveling with it. Jimmy Nichols, one of the two freshmen in that lineup.
And we're going to talk about Jimmy Nichols a lot because Ed Cooley loves him. He thinks he's going to be a rising star. There's Ed. Cool daddies, we like to call him. He is so chill, even though it get a little intense. But he loves this group, maybe a little ahead of schedule. He thought they might have, realistically, the preseason, maybe 4 or 5 losses. So they've exceeded expectations, even with the Reeves injury.
Well, that's right. And the Reeves injury, that's one that they thought might have a real impact. But Alexander getting inside, can't get the roller. They've actually played very well without Reeves. It's going to be a question, once he comes back from that foot injury, how do they work it? Diallo harassed, and Alexander comes away with it.
Good friends. You don't see this often. They hung out last night together. I mean, their wives are good friends. That does not happen the night before a conference opener.
No.
I don't care how great the friendships are. Usually that does not occur.
No, my guess is in the ACC, Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams are not dining in the hours before a big matchup between those two.
And a lot of that started on these Nike trips that these two Nike schools go on, and wives got to know each other, and it's been a great friendship here in the reconfigured Big East.
Well, here's Mintz, who's the point guard. He's another one who hits over 40% beyond that three-point line. Jefferson will try to get a little closer on the runner, and that one deflected away by Young. And it'll go the other way. That one off Creighton.
So with Providence, having the rim protection is going to be critical here. It's been something that they've been stressing to make sure they've got that safety net on the back line, and you just saw that with the block.
BC went 2-1 against Creighton last season. They won here by 14, as we mentioned, in overtime in the Big East tournament. Diallo with a launch, but too strong. And a foul go the other way. This one will go against Young. And a little bit of friction right away there, and the tie-up on the rebound.
And the officials watching that very closely. They know we got an experienced crew here, and these are two intense rivals, as we said, frenemies. I like that term for this group. But it's the opening of the Big East, and we know in the Big East you're going to have some physical play.
And a very good crew assigned. Pat Driscoll, John Gaffney, and Jeff Clark. But both teams chilly, Andy, right out of the gate. 0 for 3, both of them from the field.
And it's actually warm outside here on New Year's Eve.
This time of year, Mintz will end that. Davian Mintz, the junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's averaging about 9 points a game. Not a big scorer, but a good distributor.
Yeah, he's much more their defensive stopper, so if they can get offense out of him, McDermott will take it.
Duke, tough angle there. Young went for the follow, and will draw the foul. Khalif Young, the 6'9" junior, very active in the early going here for the Friars, who are 7-1 at the dunk. Ballack will pick up his first personal.
So something to watch here as you see Providence attack inside is the absence of Jacob Epperson, the 6'11" sophomore. I mean, he has been their rim protector, to use that term, consistently here. And with him out right now, that's going to put freshmen, Samson Froling, Christian Bishop, to be much more of a factor inside if they're going to have that rim protection, because that's a great concern for Creighton right now and Greg McDermott.
You mentioned Froling coming off the bench, a 7-footer. But he's a project. He's a guy they think has a lot of upside. 7 feet out of Australia, but not playing a ton of minutes. So you figure Providence has a chance to get to that rim today and use some of their size and athleticism. Mintz on a baseline, kicks it out. Alexander, they're all over him early. Shot clock down to 10, and they turn it over. Here comes Duke on the attack, wants to take it himself, and gets hit with 17:01 to go here in the first half.
David Duke, one of the heralded freshmen for Providence. Quick hands inside, and he's going to obviously lead this break. David Duke had an outstanding summer trip to Italy, and at that juncture, the thinking among Providence fans and personnel was, okay, he's going to be the one that's the standout. And he's had a good freshman start so far, but it's been A.J. Reeves, who obviously has been much more the offensive player. And they think now without Reeves that Duke's going to pick up his production even more.
Reeves on the bench, walking around in crutches these days, that foot in a boot, and hoping that he will be able to come back in that allotted time of 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, I was just talking to their athletic training staff before the game, and they said they just love his attitude, seeking treatment. They think he's ahead of schedule. They won't put a date on it, but he will be back.
Great kid. He's been very good in the classroom, too, from all reports. Creighton, as mentioned, has faced some tough opponents. Clemson, Gonzaga, Nebraska. They also lost to 10-1 Oklahoma. They lost to Ohio State. Out it goes to Jefferson inside that three-point line. A pull-up jumper, well short, well defended.
And that's why Creighton's going to have to get its work done in the Big East and beat some of the projected top teams if they want to get back into the NCAA tournament, because unfortunately weren't able to get those kind of quality wins in the non-conference.
Jackson outside the three. He can be very, very good out there. One of the very good shooters from three-point land for the Friars, 44%. But misfiring on the first one. Jump shot on the way, and that's too strong off the back of the iron by Mintz. Both sides cold here early. Jackson to the baseline. Jumping inside and went all the way for two.
Bears exposing that middle without Epperson. You see right now that, Creighton has gone smaller without him.
Jefferson, who stands 6'5". Here's Mintz. Rolling in, Krampelj. And tied up in a foul by Jackson. Defending underneath.
Providence will be in position to potentially get a bid and get back to the tournament.
Marty Krampelj at the line. Not a good foul shooter, to put it mildly. He knocks in the first one, 46%. And one of the oddities of this team is they're a great shooting team, but they're a lousy foul shooting team, at least early on. He looked very good on both of those, but they're only hitting 62% at the line.
And he's had 3 ACL injuries from this other one that happened a year ago. And sometimes it takes a full year. And, Greg McDermott was saying that there were times early in the season where he was hesitating because he wasn't sure how he'd handle traffic and dealing with contact. So it's just now in the last couple games where they think he's getting back to normal.
Diallo has missed his first couple, and Providence now 1 for 7 from the field. Creighton 1 for 6. And looking for the hot hand. Ballack could be one of those guys. 44% from 3. Rounded out. That one off target by Zagorowski. Jumper from way up top off the back of the iron by Duke. One and done of the Friars.
I mean, this is old Big East.
Yeah. And a little too much missing.
Yes. Not as physical, but could be low scoring.
The foul will go against Young over the back. Khalif Young, the 6'9" junior, commits it, and that'll be his second.
So let's take a look at Krampelj. If you look pre-ACL a year ago, 11-9, one of the better players in the Big East. Now 8-5, but I mean, okay, those are modest numbers, but you have to keep in mind the mental aspect of coming back from an injury like that.
Ballack from the corner, yes, he knocks in the 3.
That's what they need out of him. McDermott loves the fact that he can be that spot-up shooter. Said he's a refreshing player to coach. It's always good when he can be called refreshing.
Yeah, that's an interesting line.
Yes.
You don't hear every day from a head coach, but he's also a very good passer. And that's got to be part of it from a coach's standpoint. On the drive, White. A lot of physicality inside and a whistle. Foul along the baseline with 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Dave, I thought that was a great example of Diallo's ability to hunt for the basketball. There were 3 blue shirts, and he was the one that got that basketball in the middle of that.
Well, yanking down 9 rebounds a game. Foul on Alexander, his first. And Alpha does so many things for Providence College. Scoring, rebounding, assists. He's the best passer on the team. Ashton Langford Another one that'll miss. Nothing falling right now for PC. Alexander with a kick out. Here's the jumper by Ballack, and he's got another one. Another triple.
Well, that's how Creighton's going to win this game, if they can bury threes and if Ballack can get hot.
You know, they're making 12 threes a game. That's an historic rate for Creighton in the history of the program.
And they've had great shooters.
And finally, one swishes in right on target by Ashton Langford, who's had a very interesting season for Providence College. It was almost an afterthought when it began after a very tough freshman year. He's had some nice minutes, though, and some big moments for Providence. And winning the rebounding battle again is Diallo. Here he comes.
Well, the game we did against Fairleigh Dickinson was one of his breakout games this season.
Alpha Diallo sticks it. Junior out of New York City, preseason All-Big East first team. He's played like that all season.
Oh, he'll be in the mix for Player of the Year. It's a crowded field. We'll talk about that, but he'll definitely be in the mix.
Crowded field and a wide-open race, as mentioned. Zagorowski will shoot the three. Just about everybody other than Krampelj does. For the men in blue, shot clock is down to 8. Alexander, their top scorer, launching. And he banked it in.
He'll take it.
Not even a hint of a grin after that shot, but
hey, you got to use the glass.
So those are beginning to drop now for the Blue Jays, and a whistle and a tie-up in the lane. Krampelj trying to reach inside to stop Nate Watson.
So look, Alexander had to get uncorked at some point. He just needed one to fall. However it would.
Yes. However much help he may have gotten there. Krampelj with the foul. And you know this, that Creighton's going to be paying very close attention to Nate Watson because he had the best scoring game of his career on New Year's Eve last year when these two sides met. He had 20 points against Creighton.
Samson Froling into the game. He's one of those rim protectors, and they get around him.
Nice drive by White to drop into the junior.
One of the things McDermott's watching is how Froling handles the speed of the Big East game. Coming from Australia, that's been one of the things he's had to adjust.
Offensive foul. And good work by Ashton Langford to take that hit, and he hit the deck. Jefferson with his first.
Well, here's where Ashton Langford can make multiple contributions. On the defensive side, you know, you've covered some soccer, Dave. That might have been a little added.
A little bit of a flop.
Yes. There was definitely contact. I don't know if it was enough to have him go flying, but he sold it.
Sure did. White, another tough drive. And a mishandle by Watson. And a turnover by the Friars. Off the window, and Watson with a little bit of anger. Ripping down that rebound. Watson 6'10". He could be a huge difference maker in this one. Ashton Langford gave up the dribble. Jackson. White will set it up, but only 6 to get off a shot. On the drive, banks it in. He's made a couple of really difficult shots.
Well, that was going deep into the shot clock, so Creighton's defense certainly has tightened up here in the last few minutes.
Tied at 13. And Caleb Joseph into the game. He's been a very hot hand for the Blue Jays lately. The transfer from Syracuse. Ballack, heavy traffic, gets it inside of the 7-footer, but Foley can't finish it. Just off the bench, he missed the bunny. White feeling it. That's stripped away. Great play by Zagorowski.
Brother of Michael Carter-Williams.
How about that?
NBA player, former Syracuse player.
Yep. Former Rookie of the Year in the NBA. The step back by Ballack. Barely got to the iron. Friars looking for their 4th consecutive win following a bit of a wild stretch in early December that saw them lose a real tough one to UMass when they led by 20. Right before that, they went overtime and beat Boston College. Jackson too strong.
And it was in that UMass game, which is when A.J. Reeves got hurt.
In the corner, jumper on the way, and that one deflected away, and the defense is there early on for the Friars.
Well, Creighton is known for the way they shoot the rock, and certainly from the perimeter. When they nail threes like this, there's no question the Blue Jays will be in the game.
Pull off and let the guys just take a breather for 30 seconds before he says anything in a timeout.
Well, what you don't see from either one of those men, I know it's early, but you don't ever see panic.
Yes. Led to a lot of success on both sides. And the stuff underneath as they get it to the 6'9" junior from Slovenia. One of the few Blue Jays who does not shoot many threes, and you see why. He likes to play around the iron and get in close for those dunks. He leads them in dunks.
It's a high percentage shot for him.
Great feed. Diallo will take the hit off the pass from Ashton Langford. Made a terrific pass along that baseline.
Well, Diallo can be one of their best interior scorers, and we've seen it already. I mean, he's the player that can post up and can absorb the contact, and he is their best player, so you want him at the free throw line.
Mintz with his second foul. So one to keep an eye on, the point guard for Creighton. In a little bit of early trouble here, under 10 minutes to go in the first half. Alpha Diallo certainly in the conversation for Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah, Shamari Ponce from St. John's was the preseason favorite, but these are my four right now. Okay, Marcus Howard, unbelievable. 45 against Buffalo, 45 against Kansas State. Miles Powell hitting big-time shots, scoring in bunches for, I think, the most surprising team maybe in the country in Seton Hall. And then, of course, Alpha Diallo is on that list. If Providence can contain, keep up, can stay up there, there's no question that he'll be in the conversation. He's a first-team All-Big East player for sure.
Seton Hall with a very controversial win against St. John's. We'll touch on that. That came right down to the wire. A buzzer beater in effect to win that game after a controversial call. And St. John's finally in the loss column. Shot clock has been whittled down to 7. Joseph, nice give underneath. A terrific play. Krampelj will lay it in.
That's an experienced move right there where the shot clock's winding down, and for Krampelj to make sure he was in position to be able to take that shot.
He had a big game against Oklahoma. 19 points, 10 rebounds. They expect more of that. Got a whistle, and that'll be 3 seconds. So
games this season, I did 2 of their Seton Hall games. He didn't even play in one of the 2. It was Louisville and Kentucky, and yet here he is in that position to make that shot. Look, the Big East has said the whistle was not necessarily inadvertent. It was that they thought the clock hadn't started, and so St. John's probably should have had the basketball because it was out of bounds. But yet St. John's blew a 14-point lead.
Right.
So they shouldn't have been in that position. They lose on the road. They got a big week coming up.
They sure do. Well, Big East play launching this weekend. Diallo off the fake. This is the Big East opener for both of these schools. They swing for Diallo off the fake, trying to get inside that paint. Here's Watson, mid-range to knock it down.
Yeah, St. John's is playing Marquette tomorrow night, and then they're at Georgetown.
So knotted up at 17. That's been the nature of this series. Very tight games for the most part.
Well, what we won't see going forward for the most part is we're not going to see any blowouts anymore because the balance from 1 to 10 is pretty tight.
Right now, you can't look at a clear favorite in the Big East.
Clear, I agree. Favorite, I'd go Marquette.
Marquette is a favorite.
But I wouldn't say clear. You're right.
Diallo tried to spit it up there. Picked off by Watson to lay it in. He can really work hard in that lane. They may not have an answer for him.
Well, they have a size advantage. Now they've got to try to exploit it.
Alexander so far pretty quiet here for Creighton. Trying to get a little noisier, and he's got himself a bucket.
So keep in mind, even though he's a sophomore, this is Alexander's first time in a Big East game where he is the guy. He's the go-to player, and that's a new role. Not everyone can step into that position. He's done a good job in the non-conference. Now let's see how he handles when scouting will be even tighter in conference games.
And opponents are very familiar with you, as certainly Providence is with the Creighton program and the head coaches. That's a Langford way downtown, left wide open to drop in a 3.
Great patience by Langford. When things were going, essentially going sideways for him earlier this season, he stayed with it. He wasn't looking for some quick fix.
Joseph denied underneath. They'll kick it back out for Ballack. The defense swarming. Here's the jump shot from the corner. That won't fall for Zagorowski. Well, Creighton had their opportunities, but a lot of those shots were harassed.
We got a packed house here, but it looked quiet on New Year's Eve this afternoon. I think they're going to start getting into this game.
Nichols with a travel. Jimmy Nichols, the freshman.
He's not just for Ed Cooley, who's done a lot of USA basketball work, but we're seeing this more and more at the international competition level, where in the World University Games, it's been a university which has gone overseas. Kansas has done that. Northern Iowa's done it. Purdue did it, and it's a great advantage to take a team that works together, plays together, and take them internationally. Now you're going to have Big East players that are going to be very, very familiar with each other going to the Pan Am Games, led by Ed Cooley.
Alexander. Here's Ballack free in the corner, and that's going to be a long day for Providence if he's left wide open like that.
Yeah, Ballack and Alexander, two of their better shooters that can knock down the three, and Ed's going to certainly address that in the locker room to make sure they rotate and get out on their shooters.
Ballack has attempted 4 triples. He's hit 3 of them. Duke inside, harassed from behind, and he misfired. Mitch, slick bounce feed, and laid up and in by Bishop.
There's your transition defense, not getting back. They didn't listen to you, Ed.
And a quick strike there.
We heard it.
We heard it loud and clear. We've got a mic on him. 24-22 Creighton, and a turnover. A loose ball nearly tied up, and a whistle. As Pat Driscoll raced in, make sure everyone didn't get out of control here.
So there's an example where not everyone's getting back. They're trailing the play. They're playing catch up. That will definitely be stressed in that locker room coming up in about 5.5.
They got David Duke, the freshman for Providence, for the last personal on the scramble. But a quick moving first half, 5:16 to go here at the dunk.
Well, it is New Year's Eve. People have plans.
You and I both. Tough drive. Nothing there for Alexander. Down inside. Here's Duke. Little shove there, and that's going to go the other way. Duke will pick up the foul. And Ed Cooley is hopping mad. Number 2 on him.
Let's check it out again here. Using that right elbow. I don't know.
But there was a lot of contact
back and
before
forth.
that happened.
Yes. I will tell you this. There was a sort of almost a little bit of a hook there.
Yeah.
And officials right now are hypersensitive because it is a point of emphasis of that hook and hold in any form. They're looking for it.
Ed is unhappy with that call. It's a 2 on Duke. Vince going 1-on-1. Jefferson. Alexander trying to get back into the offensive flow. Nice give underneath. Another slam by Bishop, who's had a couple of baskets off the bench.
And Watson looks a little bit perplexed. He's sort of gesturing to his teammates running up the court. So there's a little bit of a mix-up here defensively. And now Diallo draws the foul on Jefferson.
With 4:28 to go and have Jefferson second. Diallo's had some really nice games in his career against Creighton. In fact, his last 2 games, 21 points, 19 points. Been a go-to guy, and he'll be at the line for a 1-on-1.
I cannot stress enough, because you and I have done this for decades, how nice it is to deal with someone, a player, that is so personable, engaging, who comes up to you and whether it's the first time introduces himself, how you doing, and talk about the team, and just really just a high character individual.
Great kid.
Yes.
You see him interacting with fans, young fans. Here courtside, Alexander with the fake. Jefferson went to the left hand, and he's fouled by Watson, who can't believe it. So he'll pick up the personal. 4:15 left in the half, his first. As he went for the block. Take a look.
So Jefferson has been a pleasant surprise, McDermott's been telling me. It was a situation last year where he had the year off and he needed to build on the mechanics of his shooting. So they think he's become a much better shooter as he misses this free throw, because before he was a little thinking too much on the shot. But they do think on the defensive side he's got a chance to be elite.
They also think that the Creighton players are thinking too much at the foul line. And again, just 62%, which is one of the worst foul shooting teams in the country, and yet one of the best shooting teams in America. So it's really odd to watch, but in practice, they're trying to coach them to just get the ball and shoot it instead of dribble, dribble, dribble. Think about it for 4 seconds before you release it.
Well, especially if you've been working on mechanics, it can get in your head.
Sure.
When everything's quiet and everything stands still when you're at the free throw line.
Whistle and a foul. That'll go on Bishop, helping Watson up with 4:08 to play in the first half. And Bishop will pick up his first.
I don't know, that could have been a situation where he got bailed out by actually just falling back. I'd like to see that again.
Lost his balance, went down on the seat of his pants, and then they called the foul. Watson at the line, only 59%.
You saw that pop up. We got Michigan State, Ohio State over the weekend. I saw Michigan State against Northern Illinois. They're playing great right now offensively. Cassius Winston, Nick Ward, Josh Langford. Michigan and Michigan State, they're going to be the two top teams in the Big Ten.
Jumper by Alexander. A lot of iron, tipped out high. Zegarowski with it, and a second effort now for the Blue Jays. Zegarowski touched nothing but air, but a whistle and a foul on Providence on the floor. So McDermott and Creighton in town here in Providence, trying to pick off Ed Cooley's Friars here on New Year's Eve.
On that, but he's hoping it's sooner than later. When he comes back, if Providence can survive this part of the schedule, they're going to be in the mix for a bid.
Watson with the foul right before the commercial break, his second. And Bishop with another foul shot on the way. It's the third time in 5 seasons these two teams are meeting on New Year's Eve. So it's become a bit of a tradition for Providence and Creighton. Friars in the gray here at home.
And the Big East has done that consistently since they reconstituted. It's great. Draws attention to the opening of conference play.
Too strong by Ashton Langford. Nice job on the seat of his pants there by Cashaw to keep that alive. Knocked away by Jackson. Look at him win it back. Tremendous hustle to retrieve it. Get it to Diallo. And a whistle before the shot and a foul. But great hustle there.
Well, this is the 50-50 kind of ball that Greg McDermott was talking about when we went inside the huddle. He wants Creighton to make sure they get those plays. In that instance, Providence was there, and Alpha Diallo hunting his shot, making sure he draws contact and gets to the free throw line.
Isaiah Jackson deserving all the credit there. Hitting the deck, winning it back, and triggering a fast break. That gets Diallo to the line where he makes 71%. And coming off his 6th 20-point game, Diallo is. That was against Texas. He has certainly been one of the most consistent performers in the Big East. So far, 5 points and 4 rebounds, and he makes them both.
But he also doesn't get sort of winded. I mean, he's pretty steady. So he could easily crank it up to another level in the second half.
Alexander, the lane opening up, and he'll lay it in on a hard drive. They poured in 36 points against Clemson earlier this season. That was in a Cayman Islands Classic. Had 27 against then #1 Gonzaga. He gets it done against really good opponents, too.
Great atmosphere for that game in Omaha. Creighton led a lot of that game before Gonzaga found their second gear.
Foul here against Creighton in the lane.
This will concern Ed Cooley. The fact that no one was there, or at least came late on the help once they blew past Diallo.
Cashaw with another foul to put Diallo to the line again. (30-24) Creighton. So they've quieted a nice big crowd here a little bit in the first half. 5-point game, and coming up at halftime, a preview of St. John's and Marquette. That should be a dandy. St. John's coming off a brutal defeat, and first half highlights and analysis on the way.
And that matchup between Shamari Pons and Marcus Howard, two of the candidates for Player of the Year in the Big East, two potential All-Americans.
And you mentioned, Howard had 45 points against Buffalo, 40 in the second half. Unbelievable. In the second half alone, he had 40.
When I talked to him after the game, I was being generous. He said, you weren't on as much the first. He goes, no, Andy, I struggled. And then he just flipped the switch. He had one, it was a 4-point play at one point. Fell off to the side, hitting a 3 and get fouled.
I should have known you did that game because you
No, I didn't do the game. I talked to him after.
I talked to him afterwards, okay.
A little Skype action.
Because you were everywhere in the month of December. There's Cashaw with it. Shot clock down to 6. On the drive, he'll lay it up. No, and a rebound tipped and missed. Jackson up ahead for White. White traveling. No basket. They'll wave that off. A traveling violation.
That was a good call. They're not going to like it. Ed's not happy, but I think once he sees it, he'll see. Almost like a little hop, skip. Yep.
So for Providence, their 8th turnover, that's how many field goals they've made. Bump there, Zegarowski, and that's going to be an offensive foul. Little dip with that shoulder. Ashton Langford again the man. He's done that a couple of times, taking those charges, accepting those.
Yeah, that's 2 for Ashton Langford so far this afternoon, and he's got 3 more to tie Brad Davison from Wisconsin. Remember, he had 5 earlier this season. Some people are criticizing that. Are you kidding me? How can you not love a player who wants to take a charge and help his team win?
Right. Why on
Coaches
earth?
love it.
Sure they do. I think fans do too. Nichols left wide open. Yeah, he'll drill that one, a three-pointer.
Boy, Ed Cooley loves Jimmy Nichols.
Providence first field goal in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Another whistle with 1:43 to play in the half. That had been a lengthy drought for the Friars. And a foul will go against Diallo.
That's a veteran play by Krampelj. You guys give up the basket on one end, and you just attack immediately on the other. You're not passive, going right to the basket.
However, it puts him at the line where he does not necessarily love to be at 46%. And he is typically their top free throw taker in any given game. He'll knock that one in.
I mean, clearly Providence has not played well overall, and if they can get into the half within 1 possession or have a lead, Ed will feel much better about it. You see Mike Tranghese right behind Ed Cooley, former Big East commissioner.
Yep, Mike's here a lot. Taking in games here at the dunk. There's Mike. Well, a minute 36 before the break. 32-29 Creighton. Ashton Langford looking inside. Diallo wanted it on the baseline. 10 to get off a shot for the Friars.
You can see how Creighton's really extended their defense here. That opens up a lane.
And could not connect. Alexander came in 17 points a game. A shooter who can also play the point for the Blue Jays. Under a minute to go in the opening half. And thrown away right to Jackson. They'll bounce it up for White. White attacks and stuffs. He rattles the rim with a spectacular effort.
That's how you run the transition. With authority.
That's how you finish.
Yes.
And that gets the crowd alive here at the dunk. I should say so. Zegarowski one-handed up and in. So a quick answer at a time.
Really, the atmosphere I think will pick up in the second half. I mean, I expect we're going to have a late possession game. I'm going to say it right now.
Well, last time they met went overtime in the Garden in the Big East tournament. No one would be shocked if it went that way again here this afternoon on New Year's Eve. Ashton Langford, as the clock winds down, almost matched up the shot clock and the game clock. They'll bounce for Diallo. Ashton Langford off the fake, on the spin. 2 to get off a shot, can't drain it. It comes to Jackson, he fires it up and can't hit at the buzzer. First half ends on that, 34.
For the Blue Jays.
Well, we are underway in the second half. The Friars in the gray opening up with a basketball, trailing by 3 on their home court. We tried to get underneath, but got too far underneath.
Yeah, that ball was tipped on the way over there.
And a quick strike on the other end to make it 36-31. Alexander, who had kind of a quiet first half offensively, although he did have 4 assists. This is the 24th meeting. Providence leading 15-8, although a lot of very close decisions. White with a feed for Young. To the other side of the iron, that was smooth.
Well, it makes sense for Providence to start in the second half to go right inside because that's where they've got an advantage, and they're not shooting well from the perimeter.
Cromwell the bounce feed here for Ballack. Hit a couple of big threes in that first 20 minutes. Vince, the point guard, had a couple of fouls pretty early. Picked up 2 quick personals. Off the fake, Jefferson. Ballack, corner jumper. Well short, an air ball. Picked off, but one to get off the shot, and that's going to be a shot clock violation.
Well, even though the shots are not falling, let's take a look at also the passing, though, at least has been pretty good. They're sharing the ball. That's obviously in transition, a problem for Providence at the end of the first half. And then cutting inside, good bounce pass. Love the Phantom Minutes.
White over the top. Nichols can't connect. He wins it back. Here's Diallo penetrating. And a lot of iron tipped up and in. Young will get credit for that.
I would just keep going inside, whether it's Diallo as a guard or get it inside your bigs.
Krampelj spinning inside. A lot of the crowd thought he walked with it. Young with a rebound. Nichols really calling for it. Wing jumper touches nothing for Duke. Krampelj up ahead, slams it down. You talk about transition. That's been effective for the Blue Jays here today. Well, the dunk is Krampelj's game. He has 24 of those to lead the Blue Jays. White with a crossover, got his jumper, but he misfired.
You know, at halftime, I went over and talked to Tim O'Shea and Tim Welsh, former Bryant Providence coaches. They thought the Friars may come out in a zone here in the second half to try to challenge those Creighton shooters, but they're sticking it man.
A little bit of contact on the drive. Mintz can't hit it. Free ball coming back to the Blue Jays. Shot clock to 10. Jumper straight on, in and out. Boy, that was in the cylinder for Alexander. He kicked right back out.
A reminder, this is his first Big East game as the go-to player.
Duke, the open shooter. Yes, on net from three-point land. So that ties the game at 38. Alexander coming in averaging 17 points a game, 45% from the three-point line. Jefferson, very difficult angle. That was going to be a tough shot under any circumstances. So Duke will set it up. The freshman, the Providence product. Diallo, see if he really explodes here in the second half. Young kicks it back out. Duke again. Diallo with the rebound. Right back up and draws the foul. Alpha Diallo will head to the line.
He is always around the basketball. It doesn't matter if he's outsized. He's not going to get out-toughed, out-muscled. He's going to get to the free throw line and try to give Providence a lead, which they've been just climbing to try to get back in front here.
Now Mintz with his third foul. As Diallo shooting two. Zagorowski about to check back in, the freshman. And that'll roll off the iron for Diallo. And Mintz is going to have to step out. Starting point guard with 3 personal fouls.
But Zagorowski's done a nice job of handling the team. So he will assume that role with Mintz out.
Alpha with his second one, the junior. Makes 1 of 2. That does put Providence in the lead by 1. Alexander took a tumble down on the seat of his pants, and he's tied up. Possession arrow will keep it on this end. He lost his footing and slipped.
So while Ed can't be pleased with the transition defense, what he's got to be happy with, Dave, in the last couple possessions is they've really swallowed and closed ranks, if you will, in the half court.
They'll put the pressure on here. 16:06 to go. Zagorowski up top here for Alexander. Sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina. Shot clock at 5. Long range. A line driver. Diallo commanding the ball. A lot of blue jerseys in, but he got it to go anyway. 41-38. Krampelj, a rare three-pointer, but he drills that, and it seems like everybody wearing blue can do that.
And you can just see Krampel's confidence continue to grow as he comes back from that ACL injury a year ago. And as McDermott told me, it's the mental aspect that he has to get over, that hump of being able to sort of just get out there, take contact, and not be afraid.
Finding his way inside. And the Big East opener. Friars trying to make it 4 consecutive wins. They knew they were in for a battle today. Duke with a bounce speed. Here's Jackson with it. Diallo again calling for the ball as he backs to the low block. Young with a mid-range shot. In and out. Diallo lost it out of play.
But I think Ed's applauding that because that's a good look. I mean, it just didn't go down. That was them running their offense, and Cooley's fine with that.
Providence College halfway to his 6th consecutive 20-win season. Both of these programs regulars in the NCAA tournament. They fully expect to go again. Here's Ballack.
Well, I'll tell you, this Creighton team, if they go this season, that's a huge plus because they've got a very young group. They think next season's going to be really the year they can win the Big East.
Zagorowski able to knock that one in from way downtown to open up a 44-41 lead.
Basketball in the blood. Younger brother of Michael Carter Williams.
Backdoor cut. Jackson had it deflected out of play by Creighton.
Staying with the play. Saw a little bit opening as the defense was coming up to challenge him. Buries the shot.
He's 51% beyond the three-point line, Zagorowski. 24 out of 47 on that topic. Duke will connect. From deep in the corner, the freshman on target. And ties it at 44.
Remember, no A.J. Reeves out with a foot injury, so David Duke has to step up without that 14 points coming from Reeves.
Alexander fouled on the play as Young went for the block. And he'll pick up the personal.
And there he is on the bench. Saw him during warm-ups right there on the court with his crutches and his foot in a boot. But cheering on his teammates and the athletic staff telling me just he has been sensational, seeking treatment. As one of as the athletic trainer Chris Hageman told me, he says, look, I wish I could have 10 A.J. Reeves. Loves working with him.
He got up to a tremendous start in his college debut and just kept it rolling, but out with that foot injury since the 11th of the month. 3 times named Big East Freshman of the Week. White has done such a good job, though, in fact, averaging just what Reeves did, 14 points a game over the last 3 games.
And White is playing with such confidence. I mean, he looks like he's got a purpose every possession.
Diallo up top. Jackson. Young. One dribble down Diallo, another mid-range jumper, and that one he swishes home. Young on target.
So Providence has gone to that mid-range shot for the big, and they've had multiple good looks. That one went down.
Zagorowski just lost it out of play, just mishandled it out of bounds. So a turnover, giving the Friars a chance to retake the lead. McDermott going back to his bench.
Yeah, Zagorowski just mishandled it. He was turning the corner on David Duke.
Caleb Joseph now in, the senior, former Syracuse player, now here at Creighton. He's been a very hot hand lately. We'll see if he gets a touch. When the men in blue get it back, he's 7 out of his last 11 from three-point distance. Now for Diallo. With a jumper. He sticks it. So smooth.
Yeah, this is Diallo time. Knows that Providence needs them to elevate a little bit more. And he starts to take control.
Zagorowski line driver for 3. You mentioned that Greg McDermott loves his IQ, his basketball IQ off the charts. He puts Creighton in the lead.
And he didn't even hesitate. He knew he had just a little bit of a slight opening, and he was going for it. But it's, it's his improvement defensively every day that they've really been impressed by.
Duke steps back and rebounded away, and Diallo hit the deck. Crowd was howling for foul. Jump shot by Ballack. Yes, a three-pointer. Boy, left open. He's just about automatic. Ed Cooley out onto the floor. He is
didn't and head up and create a play at the other end.
Ballack again on target with a three. He's made 4 out of 6. Duke going for the dunk and draws the foul. As he went in strong, he's having a very active second half. And Ballack has hit as many three-pointers himself as Jeep Grand Cherokee stat comparison. So it'll be Duke at the line. One of the 2 freshman starters for Providence. And 64%. And for the Friars, defending national champ Villanova will visit next Saturday. They will not play in between. So plenty of time for Ed Cooley and company to get ready for Villanova.
And this place will be rocking.
It's had its moments here today, too.
Yes.
In the opener Big East play. Zegarowski. Here's Joseph. 9 to get off a shot. He wants to penetrate. Cashaw off target. And an opening here for the Friars. Down by 3 on their home floor.
Langford back in the game.
He's got it now, and a kick for Diallo. He won't wait, and he'll knock it down on a foul as well. Boy, he has an eye for the big moment. He goes right into the crowd after taking the hit and sticking the 3.
And a rare mishap from a very experienced player in the Rice transfer. Connor Cashow ends up getting into him. And Alpha Diallo certainly knows how to take contact and sell it.
It's an opportunity for a 4-point play. And trying to put Providence College into the lead. He does that. 53-52. He has 17-9 in the second half.
He seizes the moment.
Here's Joseph. He's been very hot from three-point land. One of their hottest shooters, and the senior gets it to go to make it 55-53.
A great equalizer, the three-point shot. But you're right back in that game.
That's right. They hit 45% of them, number 3 in the country. Watson spins and rejected. Tremendous block by Bishop. That triggers Alexander's shot. He hits the 3. Boy, that didn't take long.
No, Bishop has certainly been around the basketball. He's created 2 different three-point shots by defensive play. There's basketball in his blood. Dad Jerry played high school basketball in Germany, in Augsburg, Germany, alongside Dave Warlock from the NCAA, who runs the Final Four.
Duke on the drive. That's a difficult shot, but he gets it to go. 58-55. Bishop. Went for the bounce speed, and nobody home, and out it goes.
Watch it. This is set up. Put the block on one side, and you get the fast break, transition, step-in 3 from Tyshawn Alexander.
Creighton has stuck their last 6 three-point shots. On top 58-55, but Providence with the ball. Under 10 minutes to play at the dunk. Watson fouled before the shot. We mentioned this in the first half. Watson, last year in this game on New Year's Eve against Creighton, he struck for 20. Did not get a ton of touches in the first half. You wonder if that game plan will change here.
Well, look, there is an opening inside, and Creighton knows it. They don't want to be exposed to that because they're missing their best rim protector in Jacob Epperson, and that's why you see someone like Bishop in the game, who's a freshman, but clearly has played well defensively in the last couple possessions. Now he will take a seat.
He just picked up his second foul. Watson going in strong, and that's an offensive foul, a little too strong. So that'll be his 3rd on the 6'10" sophomore. 9 7:43 to play.
Little bounce pass here. Nice draw on the offensive charge by Krampelj. A little teaching moment here between Ed Cooley and Watson. He needs him this season.
Watson capable of big things. Past Boston College, he went up for 19 and 10 against them. Here's Alexander's jumper, too strong. It'll be out of play off Creighton.
Domino effect. They beat BC. BC loses to Hartford today. You need the teams you beat to play well.
Yes.
That's why Providence has wins within the Big East as well. You know, they knocked off Texas on the road. Yet Texas had lost to Radford at home and VCU at home. Hustle play. The hustle plays. The 50-50s.
This is the time of year you see some strange final scores, don't you?
Yes, right before conference play. Only a few teams just finishing up with non-conference games.
How about Liberty shocking UCLA, leading to the firing of Steve Alford?
Yep, that all occurred this afternoon.
Jackson with a miss.
Murray Bartow with the tag as interim coach. And Providence fans, listen up. My pick for that job, if I'm UCLA, I go hard after Billy Donovan. Still with Oklahoma City, I know.
And Diallo got a piece of it.
But if he's ever going to go back to college, that's a great spot.
There's Krampelj again from the corner. He's hit a couple of those threes. A little bit unexpected, but he is drilling them.
Well, how about a time for him to go back to the pre-ACL Martin Krampelj? We're seeing it today.
61-55, that has quieted the crowd. Here's Nichols, he'll take it. Well short. With a big battle for the rebound. Tied up on the play, will stay on this end. David Duke going in strong to follow
the mental aspect. Does he feel comfortable being in a position where he's going to absorb contact? And right now he's playing, you can tell, just on feel here. He's not thinking about if he's going to get hit or what his knee's going to do or anything
fully
like that.
Confident, yep.
Yes.
Diallo takes another hit. He spent a lot of time at the foul line today. 25 to go. And they need him down the stretch. This Big East opener, Caleb Joseph, his first foul.
You know, we talked about during the break, okay, without A.J. Reeves, if it's not Diallo, who's it going to be? And Providence is going to have to watch now that they're not just all waiting for Alpha Diallo to bail them out.
6'7" forward, making number one.
Because I don't know if you agree with me, David, it just feels like Creighton has multiple options at this stage in the game where they can go offensively.
Yep.
Whereas Providence, it feels like the ball will stall a little if it's not in Diallo's hand.
Yeah, they do need that second option. And at times here in recent games, it's certainly been Malik White. Here's a guy hitting 54% his last 3 games beyond the three-point line. But they do need someone else who can hit that shot. It is 61-56, and Creighton with the ball. Mintz back in. He's playing with 3 fouls. Eight to shoot it. Here's Joseph. 4 to get off a shot. Ballot off the fake, launches it up there, and got it to go. How about that one?
And he was defended well. Oh, those are crushers.
64-56.
At the buzzer of the shot clock, just when you're trying to climb back into this game.
Alex made 5 out of 7 from 3. Krampelj with a great defensive play. Joseph in transition. Balak, oh, how about that touch pass and a foul there? With 7:33 to go.
That just shows you these two teams could go in either direction as we get going here in the Big East.
Tipped out of play by Duke, 7:32 to play. And as Ed Cooley pointed out to his Friars, there's a lot of time left.
By the way, right now, no question, Kevin Willard is not just the Big East Coach of the Year of the non-conference. He would be in Contender State. Once again, under Chris Holtmann, former Butler head coach, the surprise team in the Big Ten. We shouldn't be surprised anymore.
Creighton with the basketball, looking to add to their lead. Mintz the point guard. Shredding two defenders. Diallo got a fingertip on it, and it's going to go the other way. A foul against Creighton with 7:21 to go.
You can see the body language from Alpha Diallo. He is going to make sure his team is in this game at both ends of the floor. He's their leader. He's the one that's going to elevate them defensively, and the one that certainly is going to be hunting his shot. And now, this early in the game, he's going to the free throw line.
That's right.
Early in the second half, I'd say still. At 7:20, you're in the bonus.
Foul went on Krampelj, number 2. And that'll put Diallo back to the line where he's been often today. He's made 9 out of 12.
This is a small lineup on the floor for Providence right now, so defensively, it might be their better one, but they got to make their free throws.
Yeah, with this much time left, in particular, you better be hot at the line if you're Providence College, down 64-56. Here's Joseph. Mintz, another guy who can stick that three, 44%. He'll drive it instead underneath. Too far underneath. And a whistle, and it's 3 seconds.
It's the second 3-second call we've had this game. You don't see a lot of those.
Oh, you can go a couple of weeks without seeing one.
We've had one in each half so far.
6:56.
Excuse me, both times at that end of the floor.
That's right. Look at the turnovers this half. Providence College with only 1. Creighton 5 times. Here's Young.
All right, they're switching off on Diallo.
White up high for Diallo. White with a quick step. Airborne. Got it. Pretty looking shot. They need more of them.
And they need sort of a decoy. If Diallo and sometimes offensively would be the decoy, you need someone like White to step up and take a tough shot.
Isaiah Jackson getting ready to check in for Ed Cooley. Mintz backs away. He'll fire it up there and got it. That's a 3.
Okay, in that instance, Ed Cooley may not like that. I mean, he had his big out there extending his arm. I mean, I don't know what more you can do if they're going to bury a 3 like that.
67-58. And the three-pointer you knew would be such a factor for Creighton. If they're shooting it well, they are. This is their biggest lead. Diallo slithering inside, but misses.
It's a tough angle.
Yep, Zagorowski in transition. The freshman with it. Shot clock at 13. Very patient with it. Down to 7 now. Mintz off the fake, drawing contact, got it up in the air. He was really hunting the contact on that play.
Bit of a freshman mistake by David Duke. He took the fake, went right into him. And they're at this juncture of the game with 5:20 left, and you're approaching potentially being down double figures. You cannot afford to make those kind of defensive mistakes.
It's 3 on Duke. So Mintz to the line. He's a 70% foul shooter. Point guard led the Big East last season in assist to turnover ratio. It's been more of a struggle in that category this year. In fact, he leads Creighton in turnovers. Today it's been an issue of foul trouble for him. He'll have another one coming. 5:21 on the clock. Creighton, a team that can really score. They're 14th nationally in scoring. They get 85 points a game. But today, their defense has been stronger than advertised. Would you agree?
Yes, I would. Providence right now will be struggling to get to 70, that's for sure. I mean, they should. We have 5 minutes left, but everything, they've had to work for it.
Into the foul trouble to this point. Jefferson, Mintz, and Cashaw all with 3. Watson, Young, and Duke all with 3 for Providence. Mintz, who has hit shooting a three-pointer. And hits that one, so biggest lead at 11, 69-58 on a 17-5 run for Creighton.
I think this is what you're going to see, Dave, in the Big East this season. Highly competitive, beating each other up, which would be fine if they all took care of business in the non-conference. That didn't happen.
Yeah, the Friars one and done, and under 5 minutes to go now. And what has become a pretty quiet house here at the Dunk.
Rare. This is usually one of the more intimidating road venues for non-conference teams, and certainly in the Big East.
Ballack, his pass actually caught a piece of the rim.
Right idea. He had Zegarowski open.
White. Here's Jackson. He needed that one. He's a 44% shooter beyond the three-point line, but not at that moment. 69-58.
It'll be interesting here on the next couple of Providence possessions. I don't know if you can go without Diallo touching the basketball in a shot-ready position. He may not take every shot, but at least be in position to potentially find a shot or drive.
5 to shoot. Alexander mid-range and too strong. Ashton Langford on the baseline. Jump shot, and that'll go down by White. He'll knock that one home. Big shot.
Basically underappreciated homes in the sport of college basketball. I mean, tens of thousands at Creighton, and Nebraska game with 17 and I think 18 or 19, almost every home game.
They do break the press. Zegarowski all the way through and lays it in. So the freshman out of Hamilton, Massachusetts with a big basket to make it 71-61.
Yeah, that pressure not effective on that possession.
Ashton Langford pushes up a three, and it rattles in.
I like how he said pushes it up, because he did.
More pressure here from the Friars, but Mintz gets it across.
So the danger zone is they're so shot ready in the transition. They can launch it so quickly, but this time we're back in the half court.
Crowd trying to get amped up here in the final 3 minutes. And will the Friars from behind. Shot clock at 8. Now down to 5. Mintz has to fire it up. Not there for him.
Providence will take that one shot.
Diallo was calling for the ball. Zegarowski came out of nowhere to grab it. With the quick hands and a big theft.
Yeah, heady defensive play, reading that perfectly.
Krampelj wants it over the top of a foul before the shot. 2:33 to go. Creighton whittling a lot of time off the clock, too.
And there's, once again, a veteran play where Krampelj saw the mismatch where he had Langford on him trying to defend him. And here's Zegarowski with a little pickpocket of Alpha Diallo. Diallo thought he had a clean look to the basket.
They were late trying to get him the ball. He called for it several seconds before that. So Mintz, the junior point guard, in no hurry with a 7-point lead and under 2.5 left. Alexander. Krampelj wants it. He's got a mismatch. And a foul with 2:17 to go. That was with only 4 on the shot clock.
So that's the second possession in a row. They've looked at that mismatch with Langford guarding him.
He just picked up his 3rd foul.
I mean, Providence right now has a better shooting team on the floor. Not as well, not as much a size and defensive team on there. I mean, they have to gamble a little bit defensively. Down 7.
Yep, and time now a big factor coming up in 2 minutes to play. Creighton trying to come to Providence and grab an impressive road win. That's a kick ball with 2:01 showing. And precious seconds ticking away if you're the Friars. And for Creighton, up 71-64. There's the kick on Diallo. And another timeout. That's the second one that Ballack has burned, unable to get one in. So 2:01 showing here at Providence. Creighton looking to pick up their 10th victory of the 12 three-pointers per game. They have 13 today, and that's an historic pace for the Creighton program. It has been a giant factor today. Alexander makes 45% of his. Well, they're under 2 minutes. Shot clock down to 7.
No need to foul now.
Alexander on the drive, scoops it and hits it. 73-64. Time running out on the Friars.
Well, Creighton fans are going to love Tyshawn Alexander if they haven't already fallen for him.
Bounce speed on the baseline. That's going to be goaltending on the big fella Krampelj to count that basket with 90 seconds left. 73-66.
You know, if the script was flipped, the way Creighton shoots the three, you'd feel more comfortable they could get back in it pretty quickly.
Right.
Providence has not been shooting the three well.
Not today. For the most part, they've improved a little bit from a year ago, but it's just not the weapon it is for the Blue Jays. Well, it is for few people in the country. And time again being run off the clock by Davian Mintz. Getting the shot clock way down there. Now it's down to 3 and a long distance shot. Ballack went up, beat everybody for the rebound. That brought up a huge groan here at the dunk. And a reach-in foul by Ashton Langford to stop the clock. And a lot of folks are going to start to pick up their hats and their coats and head for the exits here on New Year's Eve.
What a road win for Creighton, the way they hunt the ball. And, you know, one of the big factors we talked about at the outset of the broadcast were the hustle plays, because Creighton knew they had to do that to win this game on the road here, and they have. They have gotten the majority of the 50-50 plays, whether it's on the floor or certainly getting the rebounds like that.
Alexander at the line. The 6'4" guard and can also play the point. He has had a steady game with 18 points, 75-66. Ashton Langford will scoop it for 2. And they will foul to stop the clock with 48 seconds to go.
Now, the beauty of the Big East is you continue to have opportunities. And as you see in the lower right, Providence has another one on Saturday. If they were to knock off Villanova here at the dunk, I'm not saying it cancels out this loss, but it certainly can change the narrative going forward. Maybe you get closer to getting Reeves back, you know, sometime in the middle of January. And that will be in a factor, by the way. The selection committee always takes into account who was playing, who wasn't. You saw right behind on your upper right of your screen there when they go to that wide shot, Bruce Rasmussen, who's the Creighton athletic director. He was the second one in from that on the scores table. He was the selection committee chair last year of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. This year it's Bernard Mura, the athletic director from Stanford.
Tipped out of play with 37.7 to go. And a 77-68 lead for Creighton. And Duke to put it in play here. Over the top, Diallo will have to fire. And it won't roll in. The tip won't fall either. So final seconds here. Ballack with it. Ashton Langford with a reach and a foul. But Creighton back to the line and on the verge of improving to 10-4. And coming into this environment on New Year's Eve against a team that beat them 2 out of 3 last year and about to walk out of here with a victory.
And Creighton should have a pleasant New Year's Eve flight back with the time difference. They'll get back before midnight.
Ashton Langford has just fouled out with Ballack about to shoot. One of the very reliable foul shooters for the Blue Jays. We talked about it when we came on the air. Both of these head coaches are very good friends. Greg McDermott for Creighton and Ed Cooley for Providence. And only one of them is going to be smiling in 27.4 seconds. But they get a chance to get together and have dinner before games. And their friendship is one of the strongest in the conference.
Wives are good friends. You know, Greg McDermott told me yesterday that he roots for Ed Cooley anytime, except for not when he's playing Creighton. Creighton, the perfect fit in the new configured Big East.
White can't hit. Ballack has had a big day.
They're going to call it off. What a huge road win for Creighton. They can change the narrative on their season. Maybe didn't get it done in the non-conference. They're getting it done to start the Big East.
Well, they did. They came in as one of the high-flying scoring teams in the country, and they hang 79 points on Providence College today.